Culbertson. They feel great about that group, and the inside linebackers even more with Darren Harrison and John Barnes.
You know, Damon Culbertson, we really haven't called his number a lot tonight, but he's been really outstanding this season. He has 7 sacks. They like to blitz him a lot. Comes up and supports the run well. Has really been quiet so far for the Renegade defensive unit.
He's matched up over there against a pretty good guy himself, and Mike Knutson for the Hornets, number 72, 6'4", 253 pounds. So he's done the job. 3rd down and 20. Tommy Poore in motion to the top. The Hornets give it off on a draw. It'll go nowhere. Maybe back to the 10 or the 11-yard line. Johnny Green, no daylight there, and nobody fooled for the Bakersfield Renegades, particularly Kevin Hahn, number 98. Prohaska will be back in his end zone one more time, and you can't fault the Gay defense, David. They've been doing their job.
Only trailing by 16. It's just been the offensive unit unable to capitalize on great field position and Hornet turnovers.
They could use a break, and they come after Prohaska and knock him down. A flag will go down. The ball loose over here. Davis coughs it up to the 39. I believe the Hornets have it.
Penalty marker on the play.
That will be roughing the punter. Prohaska went down under a sea of red and white in the end zone. And a Hornet down at the 40-yard line.
Personal foul, working the kicker against Bakersfield.
That'll be a 1st down for the Hornets.
I think that 62 Kent Nawahi down.
On the field.
Regardless, the Hornets would have had a 1st down, the reffing the kicker penalty, or if the fumble would have been recovered by the Hornets, they would have declined the penalty and taken the ball right around the 40-yard line.
They're going to take it back to the end, and you see 62 Kent Nawahi up and at him. He's going to be okay, playing very well tonight. Kent getting a chance, as we've said during the evening, and many players getting a chance to play tonight.
First, repeat 4th down. Wait for my whistle.
Well, they didn't give him a flagrant personal foul on that, David. Gave him a 5-yard penalty and going to let him kick it one more time. So the Hornets came up short on all aspects, and they're going to have to call a timeout. They didn't have enough people out there. Deion Snow making a late entry, number 16, into the game. It doesn't pay to be late. It's tough enough with 11. And John Vanderstee, 15, says, yeah, you, come on in here.
See a lot of coaches looking up at the sky and rolling their eyes when things like that happen, especially with a big lead.
And they're not counting constellations. They're wondering what's going on, boys. Who's supposed to be in there and why aren't you?
I'm sure the Gades are seeing stars right now. It'll be a long drive back to Kern County tonight.
They're still in it here, 16-0 though. The Hornets self-destructing on their possessions in the second half. One good drive. Ended up with Richard Williams throwing an interception. And that timeout, a wasted timeout, really. Nothing that you got except enough people on the field. You'd like to have that to start with. Prohaska will be back at his goal line. Still dangerous territory. Bakersfield with 10 men on the line. They'll be coming after him. Richard back at his 45-yard line.
Here they come.
Good snap. High punt, a short one. Richard at the 47-yard line, and he takes a hit. Hello. Keith Menches. Meet Gary Richards.
A little more than a friendly handshake that time. Woo.
A 1-yard return, and perhaps not worth the effort for Gary Richard. You want a fair catch that one. And he may next time. But again, great field position.
Ouch. Simple as that. Menches has been really a demon on the special teams and really got in a good shot on that occasion.
From the 46, 1st and 10. Bobby Brandon in at the helm. One more time for the Gades. They still trail at 16-0. Short drop over the middle, complete. Down to the 34-yard line. Rick Anthony on the reception, and that's that slant play you were talking about. A quick step, 2-step drop, and hit the man coming over the middle.
Well, the Hornets are playing essentially man-to-man coverage because they're sending 7 and 8 men after Brandon. So that type of pattern is going to be open on a man-to-man coverage situation.
Tyrone Williams to the bottom. Rick Anthony to the top. The wide receivers, John Stone and Smith, remain in the backfield. Bobby Brandon back in one more time. Why he was out, we just can't tell you. Brandon looking over the middle, has his tight end. Makes a good move inside the 20. Bill Klump, 17 yards. That's a number we haven't talked about too much. The great talent. They just haven't been able to get the ball to him. But right now, the little short stuff working for the Gades, and they have great field position at the 19-yard line, 1st and 10. They can put one on the board right now. Changes the whole complexion of the game. 1:49 to go, third period of play. Give off the right side to Johnstone. Fights his way forward inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. And that's a name we haven't called too much since the first quarter of play.
Well, when you start to pass the ball, like the Gades showing that they're maybe thinking about doing at this point in the game, getting 7-8 yards across the middle like that, that'll open up a guy like Johnstone, enable him to bounce off tackles and do what he does best.
The Gades like to go over that right side with Bruce Ferguson, number 74, at 252. Darrell Marshall at 79 at 288 with the tight end Klump. They like to work off the right side. 2nd and 5, a gain of 5 for Johnstone. Off the left side to Smith, and he has a hole down to the 5-yard line.
First down, Bakersfield.
Rick Smith will get first down yardage at the 5. It'll be 1st and goal. This game starting to turn around in a hurry.
And Smith is a good football player. He could complain for lack of hours on his time card because of a guy like Johnstone getting so much work, but we saw him on the special teams running back kicks and a good slashing type runner with great speed.
Great hole opened up by the center, number 52, Joe Louis. That time moving it down close to the 5-yard line, 1st and goal. To Johnstone, up the middle for short yardage into the teeth of that Hornet defense. Terry Page in on a tackle, number 32.
Johnstone, the ball carrier.
Coming up from the bottom also Sean Carden, so the inside linebacker position doing well on that play, Dave.
And no coincidence that the Gades are moving the ball now with their first-string quarterback back in there.
The Hornet defense has been out there quite a bit, and they may have been lulled a little bit by the ineffectiveness of the Gade offense, but you can tell right now, coming out of the huddle, they're spirited. 2nd and goal. Ball loose. Who has it? Fumble around. The Hornets say they have it. Let's see who picked it up. I believe the Gades retained possession, but a wasted down. Back at the 5-yard line.
Recovered by Bakersfield.
The resurgence of the Bakersfield offense, David, coincided with the insertion of Bobby Brandon back at the quarterback position.
Amazing how that works out, huh? He's a guy that really makes them go. In fact, the Hornets have said all week long during their scouting and film, don't underestimate him. Doesn't have great numbers, but really makes his team click.
There you see it, 16-0 going into the 4th period of play. Lon Bronk, Dave Lewis for you on the Fullerton College Television Network. And thanks for joining us wherever you happen to be in the city of Anaheim, Brea, Buena Park, Fullerton, La Habra, Placentia, Villa Park. Going into quite a few cities with Storr, Sentry, Group W, all of those fine people bringing you action on the public access channels. Welcome to the 1985 season. 16-0, the Hornets with their backs to the wall for the first time tonight.
Apparently so, and they're a team that's really, no one can figure them out quite yet. They're 2-2. Are they a good football team? Are they not? So far, in my eyes, they've been very mediocre, and they have to be a little better than mediocre next week when they go up to wonderful Taft.
Dave, have they let Bakersfield off the hook here in this game so far? They've been dominating the game, but only up by 16. Brandon back to throw. He goes over the right side, will keep it himself. Chasing him is the Hornet defense. Terry Page gets a hand on him, but he goes down inside the 5 at the 3-yard line. Johnny Vanderstay in on a tackle along with 67 Tom Matthews, and Sean Carden 89 helping out. But that will bring up a 4th down, and that should pick up, they can't pick up a first down, so a timeout called by Bobby Brandon and the rest of the Gades. And head coach Carl Bowser realizes this is a very important possession.
No doubt about it here. You got to go for it. So have to design your best play here, possibly get that touchdown. Haven't seen the true option yet where they've executed the pitch very well. Brandon coming down the line and maybe pitching it to Johnstone or Smith.
It is very obvious in a little time we've had this chance to see Bakersfield that Bobby Brannon is a far superior quarterback at this point than Manuel Garcia.
Well, his statistics really don't reveal what he does to this team. He's a great leader in his running ability, although doesn't have great yardage totals because of the sacks. His statistics are deceiving, and his passing stats aren't very outstanding because they simply don't throw the ball that well.
Coach Jeff Jesperson down there talking along. You see Mark Allen on the left side, former BYU FC man, and with the national championship team last year was Mark Allen, helping out the Hornet secondary along with secondary coach Al Fiola. So the Hornets go back to the battle. Deion Snow, 16 in there, along with Jeff Malstead, Vanderstay and company in the back. They'll have that goal line defense in there, and a very, very big play for the Bakersfield offense, and you see him right there.
Biggest
Brandon
play of the
will
game.
come out. Split backs and Johnstone and Garcia. Now they go to the wishbone, something you use every now and then. Off the right side, and Johnstone is stopped short of the end zone. A Hornet defense comes up with a shot.
Nick Unger.
Hornet down at the goal line. Nick Unger continues to improve game in and game out of that defensive tackle position. Very big play. The gauge went to the wishbone, Dave, and the Hornets stopped it. They've seen that once this year.
Went to the bread and butter, and a little bit stale that time. Very predictable, and they like to play power football. They've been able to play teams like Ventura this season, Mount Sac, Long Beach that weren't up to their level, and they could get away with this coming right at you stuff. And Fullerton has felt going into this game that quickness was the key. This is a team that doesn't play well against quickness. On fourth down, go to your bread and butter Johnstone, but the Hornet defense had great penetration, drove the offensive line of Bakersfield back a yard, and really stood them up to make the biggest defensive play of the ball game.
And a Hornet continues at the bottom there at the 1 yard line, and Dr. Phil McFarland has come out. Now that's an indication when he comes out that Bill Chambers, the head trainer, has ascertained that something is wrong, more than just a wind knocked out of him. The Hornets have had their share of injuries in 1985, David.
All started in the first game with Robbie Lindsay, who dislocated an elbow, and many people thought his career would be over, wouldn't play again this year. Maybe later on they'd get that, what they call a hardship year, which you can conceivably get 4 years at a junior college level with a redshirt year and the hardship year with some kind of wipeout injury. But the rumor has it he's out there working out, running around the track, and he's getting ready to practice and could conceivably play in a couple weeks. Scott Schultz hurt himself. Apparently he is gone for the year, banged up. Sean Robertson, broken finger. He is out for the season. We've seen Tommy Nglima with that bad thumb. He's able to play but not catch practically anything at all, and hard to eat that spaghetti at night that his mom cooks him out in Brea. Ed Atkinson re-injured that knee. Of course, he recovered from knee surgery last year. He's banged up out of the lineup. James West got the start tonight, and Andre Hampton, a knee injury. We've seen him on crutches limping around on the sideline. Now look at the third quarter statistic line. Bakersfield had 38 total yards at the half. They've quietly creeped up for 105 total yards, but domination 375 to 105. Turnovers pretty much even out still, 3-2, and penalties 6-6, a penalty marred game. A lot of yardage in that area, but for the Hornets, complete domination offensively.
The Hornet down at the goal line. Frank Koza being attended by Dr. Phil McFarland and his group. They've got the cart out there. They're going to take their time with him, and if anything's wrong, they're going to make sure they don't injure it, trying to get him off the field. And so we have a stoppage of play here. And Dave, you talked about the injuries. I talked to Robbie Lindsay earlier in the week, and as you said, at the outset of his injury, they thought he's gone for the year. His Hornet career is over, but he's working out on the field by himself, and that's the loneliest feeling. He's over there running wind sprints and trying to get that flex back into his arm. And another Hornet, Frank Koza, we hope that he'll be all right. But Robbie Lindsay trying to get himself back into action. He said, you know, I'd love to get in that Taft game, but I don't think I'm going to make it.
Oh, I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and You know, many people thought his career was over, like you mentioned, and he had a chance to take what they call that hardship season. When you have an injury, you can take that instead of a redshirt year, and he's already used his redshirt year, so figuratively speaking, this would be it for him. But he could take that hardship year. He says, I'm playing this year, or that's it. So he's really worked himself and really tried to rehabilitate himself and should be ready to go in a couple of weeks. We hope the best for Frank Koza. We'll see if we can get word on his injury.
Well, the big guy, 255. We do hope he's all right. Williams on a keeper from the 1, 1st and 10 for the Hornets. Just trying to get a little operating room down there deep in their own territory. And Dave, you said it, biggest defensive play of the game for the Hornets that time around, and they were running the ball very well with the Bakersfield Gades, and a little bit surprising they didn't try to go outside or work some of the things that were working for them on that drive.
When they get to the goal line, they almost always go to the wishbone and run types of plays just like that, dive, off tackle kind of things, and that's where the Hornets really can try to stuff it up with a yard and a half to go to the goal line, and executed that time to perfection.
This time one of the Gades down, injured on the play, number 64 down, writhing in pain, Lenny Moore. Lenny from the defensive tackle position. Boy, has he had a great year, and that'll be a gigantic loss if they can't get him back in there.
Honorable mention, All-Pac-9 a year ago, and one of the keys to the defensive front coming into tonight's play, 27 tackles, 5 sacks, 4 quarterback hurries, which is a key stat, and also 2 fumble recoveries, like you mentioned.
And they're going to assist him off, and he's hanging that left leg up in the air, and boy, you hate to see that. Lenny moved from the linebacker position up to give some help on that defensive line. You can see that left leg just kind of dragging along, getting some help from his friends. 2 injuries consecutively. Don't see that often, and we hope we don't see it for a long time to come. 2nd down. Going back up the middle, the Hornets trying to operate and get some room up to the 10-yard line this time. Hankins, the ball carrier, to the 10. That'll bring up a 3rd down and about 2 yards to go.
And we saw that goal line play a minute ago, a very big play. But this one, in its own way, is very critical, too, because the Gades can hold them here, get the ball back in very good field position, and still have a lot of time on the clock to really get back in it with a possible score if their inept offense could get rolling.
The Hornets, Dave, have they gone conservative or just the Bakersfield defense playing better here in the 2nd half?
I think they're tightening the belt so far in the 2nd half.
Green this time stopped right at the line of scrimmage. He will not get the 1st down. The Gade defense answers the call. Damon Culberson, number 94. Kevin Hahn in there on the tackle. They're doing their job. Leo Tablizo, number 96, coming in for Lenny Moore, helping out on the tackle too.
Dare you say that name again?
Tablizo.
That's pretty good.
That'll be close to the 1st down, but from here it looks like he was short, depending on where they spotted it. A big call for the Gade defense. It is short. 4th down.
The Hornet offensive line is saying, go for it. That would be silly at this point.
That's why they're not coaching. Down deep, Prohaska. The end of the 3rd quarter, he was down in his end zone on that end of the field. Now we go to the other side, and he's there one more time. Gary Richard seems like he's been standing in midfield all night long. The Hornets unable to get things going. This time he hesitates, flag goes down. He gets the punt off, but he is hammered at the goal line. The ball rolls to the 40.
Oh, my goodness.
But Bakersfield trying to block the punt, got a hold of Prohaska, clotheslined him and knocked him down. And it'll be roughing the kicker. Now, last time it was only a brushing up against him. This time it ought to be the big one.
Jesse Davis, number 45, is just beside himself.
A double penalty, offsides, which would have given the Hornets a 1st down anyway, since they only needed about a foot. And now the roughing the kicker penalty will give the Hornets an opportunity, and that's just a tough break, a 15-yarder. Brian O'Kane will tell us the news.
Roughing the kicker on the defense, automatic 1st down.
The Gade defense does their job, and the Hornet offense gets a chance one more time.
That is really discouraging to work that hard and force the punt and then have to go back on there. So occasionally on situations like this, the offense can break loose for a big play.
Defensive coaches tell their team you have to be ready for things called sudden change when you don't think you're supposed to be in there. And then you are. The Hornets going long, looking for Aaron Grimm. And David, they came out of the chute saying, let's go after it first time out.
Just what we were talking about a second ago. You go for the big play after a turnover or something like that. On occasion, you have a defense, kicking the dirt, aw shucks. Have to go back out there and bear down and play just as hard as you did the previous 3 downs. That time the Hornets went for the big play to break this thing wide open.
And the Gate defense expecting it. They had a lot of people back there on the coverage of Aaron Grimm, 4 or 5 backs. Pat Gaskell, number 30, the primary man, along with Phil Fresh. And the great cornerback for Bakersfield and Fresh, 28, Gary Richard, 36, who leads the team in tackles. I don't know if you want your cornerback leading the team in tackles, but that's what's happening. 34 on the year. Play action fake, rolling to the right. All the time he needs, and a man open in Tom Port to 45-40. 35-30, he'll go down at the 31-yard line. Richard Williams, an excellent fake, and he goes to Tommy Poore.
He has really emerged the past couple of weeks. Started last week for Andy Klinkenberg, who's more of the blocking type tight end. On this occasion, run Aaron Grimm on a sideline route, run the tight end deep, who's normally isolated against a linebacker. That time he was all alone and nearly went for the big game. 43
yards, Richard Williams to Tommy Poore, tight end who's had a chance to start and taken advantage of it. And the Hornet defense, a little bit of a break on that roughing the kicker penalty. And let's see if they can take advantage of it. 16-0 still the score. 4th period to play, 12-17 to go to Green. Left side, cuts back up inside. Green inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. Again, Johnny Green shows the ability to go to the outside, Dave, step back up inside, turn on the afterburners, and here's the pass. All the time he needed.
Williams looking for Grimm, and there goes Poore running right down the center of the field. Had only one man to beat in Darren Harrison, the linebacker, like we mentioned, isolating against the linebacker. Otherwise, he was off to the races.
$2 wager. The Hornets trying to take advantage of an opportunity. 2nd down and 1. Johnny Green with a gain of 9 yards. 11:33 to go. The Hornets trying to put this one out of reach. To Green, up the middle. Green stays on his feet inside the 20 to the 16-yard line. That'll be another Hornet first down. Gaskell coming up from the secondary to make the tackle, David, but oftentimes the defense just can't get themselves turned around. Disappointment shows on their face, but shows more in how they play.
Really discouraging after the penalty. Apparently they've done their job, and they've been really not dominated defensively to the point where they're being mowed back and forth up and down the field. They really held the Hornets only 16 points, had a chance to get back in it with a punt, but didn't work out.
1st and 10. Richard back to throw all the time he needs to find a receiver, but he finds the wrong one. He's in red and white. Fresh breaking loose up to the 25-yard line, and Richard Williams, hard to figure out what he was looking at that time, David.
Well, now he's going to have to look at Hal Scherbeck with his hands on hips. I hate to be Rich in this situation coming to the sideline.
He had a lot of time, and he had a man open at the inside the 10-yard line, went back across the field, and the only thing you can figure, you just didn't make a read that he was looking for, and Frash stepped up for his 2nd interception. So
he didn't see
get
Frash
close to the end zone, and Frash takes over. The Gades and the Hornet defense back in there this time. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Brandon over the middle has Klump. Klump to the 42-yard line, a first down, 14 yards.
Coming into today's play, Klump with only 6 catches has 3 of them already, and is really the unknown quantity. If you can get him the ball across the middle, they can move the ball 8-10 yards a crack.
So the Hornets have refused to put this one away. 2 interceptions near the goal line have kept the Gades into the game, and the Hornet defense out there one more time. 1st and 10 from the 43. Bobby Brandon has moved him since he's come back into the game. He left early in the game. Now rolls to his left, and he has room. Willie Mack after him. Ball loose. The Gades after it. I think they have it one more time. Bobby Brandon fumbled the ball sideways. It took 2 or 3 hops. And the Renegades pick it up one more time. The Hornets couldn't quite get to the ball.
Look at Brandon again. Lowering his shoulders, sees he had a running back open. Rick Smith turns it up, got tripped up from behind, and the ball went loose with a wild scramble. Unfortunately for the Renegades, they kept on to this thing. Otherwise, their ineptitude would continue on the offensive end.
Bruce Ferguson picking up that big fumble recovery. 1st and 10 inside the 40. Bobby Brennan off to the right side, hands off to Johnstone. Short yardage, but things starting to open up for that Gade offensive line right now, Dave.
The pass, in this case, setting up the run. And most cases, it's quite the opposite, where you run on 1st down and maybe set up the pass. They're doing it a little bit differently. The pass, the clump, the little things across the middle can set up a guy like Johnstone, who earlier in the season had 107 yards in 1/2 against Ventura, so he's an explosive punishing runner. Just give him opportunity to run the ball.
And you have to wonder what this game would be like if Bobby Brennan had been able to be in there the entire game. Back to throw is Bobby. Bobby going long, coverage by Nglima, incomplete. Tommy Nglima back there along with Jeff Malstead. The ball really just thrown up to Rick Anthony, trying to get him a chance to run underneath it, and he wasn't able to do it.
One thing the coaches like about Rick Anthony on the Bakersfield side is his size and leaping ability, and his 6'3", who jumps well, going against little Tommy Nglima, who's about 5'9", and I won't even say how short I really think he is, otherwise he'll be after me after the game, but you wonder why teams don't go after him more during the season on the solo coverage.
So the incomplete pass makes it 3rd down and 7, a big possession again for the Gades. Back to throw, Brandon. Over the middle and wide open, Jeffrey. Jeffrey at the 20-yard line on the first one.
Tell you, Lon Malstead is really drilling some people out there tonight.
David Zuniga took a drilling himself coming out to make the tackle. But a 1st down, timeout for the Hornets. They needed opportunity to talk it over. Bobby Brandon again, Dave.
Finally going to the air, the underneath stuff is now open because with the big lead that the Hornets have, the nickel and dime stuff will be available. They don't want to get burned deep.
And the Renegades refuse to fall. They don't want to get out of this game. They're still in at 16-0. 7 points here, and perhaps a 2-point opportunity would be what they would go for with a touchdown here. They'd be within 8, and 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. They're right back into this thing.
Well, that's a long ways away, but you have to give the Renegade defense a lot of credit because they've really been dominated. The Hornets over 400 yards in total offense thus far, and they've been a bend but don't break type defense. They've let the Hornets move the ball on occasion, get near the goal line, and when it's time to stop them, come up with the big play, the interception, that time by Frash at the other end.
Richard Williams intercepted twice, the first 2 of his career, and it's happened to him against the team that leads the Pac-9 in interceptions with 10. So they've been averaging a couple per game. He has to join the long list of people who've been picked off by that Renegade backfield.
Oh, they're so much more superior in the secondary than they were last year. A year ago, we went up to Bakersfield, made that long drive, expecting a great game, and Rocky Mount simply lit them up for 5 touchdowns.
A new Hornet record, 1st and 10 from the 35. 2 wide receivers. Brandon will go down at the 35-yard line. Nielsen, Acevedo coming from the nose tackle position. Does him in a hurry. Big play by the Hornet defense.
Seen Nielsen Acevedo play at Buena Park as a fullback, and he was about that big before. Now look at him come storming up the middle, literally untouched. He hasn't touched and carried that football in a long time. He wanted to take it from Brandon and see what he could do with it.
2nd and 18, a loss of 8. Bobby Brandon trying to get the Gades in the end zone. They trail by 16 with 6:24 to go. Brandon has time, goes long, looking, and Willie Mack.
Fantastic.
Rick Anthony and Willie Mack both had a chance, but the Mack came down with it that time. Big interception.
They were dueling down that left sideline, and Willie pushed him about as far as he could go inbounds and kept that inside position where the ball couldn't be completed no matter where it was thrown, and Willie simply out-battled Anthony for that interception.
Secondary coach Al Fiola looking down high atop here in the press box with pride. Hornet defense keeps the Gades out of the end zone one more time. Williams Green in the eye in the end zone. Off the right side. Johnny Green steps up inside. Stays on his feet outside the 15 to the 16-yard line. John Green making the tough yards now.
And now the going gets tough, huh, with the big lead. Even for us, too, with 6 minutes remaining in the ball game. You mentioned for the Gades, it may be turn out the lights for them soon, but up there, they've turned them on. This stadium holds about 5,000 people. Up at Bakersfield, they have a tremendous following, averaging 10,000 in 1984 and around 10,000 every game they play at. With new lights, they have lights that'll last them for around 30 years. They spent $63,000 in a beautiful stadium. If you have a chance to go up to Memorial and watch a football game or a track meet, it's simply outstanding.
Great track events go on there at Memorial Stadium, too. Williams hands off left side, short yardage to the 20-yard line on the first down. Hankins the ball carrier, a gain of about 4 yards. The Hornets may be content to try to grind this out right now, Dave.
And with Williams in there, normally with a lead, the Hornets go to the second, third, and we even seen Kerry Severson earlier in the Orange Coast game go to the fourth-string quarterback. But Williams is reasonably green and needs that experience. I wouldn't be surprised with a 16-point lead, even if they get another touchdown, that he stays in there the entire game.
And the game really not in doubt within 2 touchdowns. And the way the Hornet offense has been operating, they've kept the Gades close. Give the Renegades credit themselves. Second down and 4. Johnny Green off the right side. Hurdles a man. Fights forward to the 27-yard line and a first down. Johnny Green carrying Bakersfield tacklers along the way with him. He made a lot of that on his own. Tackle finally made by John Barnes, number 35, but he got a ride from John Green.
A ride, and truly a good adjective to describe him, a good metaphor, because he was like a horse. In fact, someone put that spurs in him, and he kicked up for an extra couple yards and got closer, or in fact did pick up the Hornet first down.
Fullerton with Grimm and Rollins. Green remains in the backfield, along with Carlos Sendejas. First and 10 from the 28-yard line. Williams to Green off the left side. He's doing the work, and the ball comes loose. It's free, and the Hornets pick it up. The ball squirted by the Gades, and Steve Anderson, number 70, picked it up.
You get a lot of fumbles from a guy that tries to fight for extra yardage like he does, and sometimes when you're wrapped up by a couple of tacklers, it's best to fall down and just take and leave well enough alone. But John Green's not that type of kid. He likes to struggle and churn for everything he can get, and sometimes it cost him. He's coughed it up 2 times in the past 3 drives.
Second down and 1, so fumbled ahead for a little bit more yardage. Gain of 9 on that play, along with the extra fumble. Williams hands off to the tailback. Newkirk pops to the outside. Ball loose again. This time the Gades do have it. You only get so many chances. Gary Richard comes up with a fumble, his 3rd of 1985. Well, you get away with it once. Don't dare try it twice.
They've been getting away with it the entire game, but Bakersfield's refusing to capitalize.
You look at the possessions for Bakersfield. They've had great position all night long. Credit the Hornet defense with keeping them out of the end zone. The big goal line stand we look at earlier in this period, David, the difference really in this game.
The first period really has established it because it was 16-0 at the half, and really neither team has been able to establish anything in the 3rd and now 4th quarters of play.
From the 37, Bobby Brandon back at the helm, 1st and 10. Bobby, short drop over the middle, looking for William Klump, a play that's been successful. He fights forward to the 26-yard line and a first down. Well, do it until they stop it, Dave.
I'll tell you, a guy like Klump, you expect him to be this big blocking thug, but he's just such a good, solid quality player. And in fact, a lot of times avoids that contact and uses his good hands and good foot speed to pick up sizable gains. He'd be much more of a weapon if the Renegades could get him more involved.
He's out of Stratford in Houston, Texas, and 6'2", 228. The Division I big schools like the looks of him. Brandon under pressure, he'll go down. Zuniga, one of the first ones there. Dan Unger, 78, also there, taking over for Frank Kogan. And the ball's loose and the Hornets have it. A late fumble, and I don't know if Zuniga just didn't take the ball right away from Bobby Brandon.
Must have coughed it up as he was falling to the turf because it looked like it was an obvious sack. So the fumble must have occurred as Brandon was falling to the ground.
David Zuniga very good at getting a hand in there, the big paw, and just stripping it away. From this backside, it looked, as you said, just like a sack, but the ball free, and the Hornets have it one more time. The Gades not taking advantage of great field position one more time. That's been the story so far, along with their turnovers. 1st and 10 from the 30, so the Hornets gain a couple yards on that exchange. Williams back to throw, wants to go for the big one, going for Aaron Grimm, and he will go down. Aaron Grimm sandwiched in between two of the Bakersfield Renegades, and I think they got a hold of his helmet while they were trying to catch him there, Dave.
Could be a neck type injury.
Pass interference will be the call, but that's the least of the problems right now, Dave.
Because number 88 down on the turf is a valuable part of the Hornet aerial attack. A couple times tonight he's been really exposed with his ribs up there, leaping for catches across the center of the field. In fact, I kind of thought he'd go back in the huddle and say, easy, Richard, keep the ball lower, but Richard apparently is really hurt.
Aaron Grimm down at the 50-yard line, right at midfield.
Receiver Aaron Grimm.
But he pops up. Good news for the Hornets. Especially good news for Aaron Grimm.
The magic of Bill Chambers once again.
Just a little touch and he's up and on his way. That looked like an awful dangerous play. Not a dirty play by the Renegades. They were simply covering, trying to get a hand up on the ball. And ended up with a hand on the helmet, kind of clotheslined Aaron Grimm. So the penalty will give the Hornets a first down at the 46-yard line. Williams, play action fake, roll to the right. Williams to Tommy Poore, and he can't hang on to it. He was wide open. Darren Harrison, 38, on the coverage. But the ball was there in good fashion.
I had a chance to talk to Tom Poore this week. He had his first start against El Camino, and really a nice kid, aspiring broadcaster. And one of his biggest thrills is watching the Flintstones every day.
You need entertainment. You can't be serious all the time.
They're celebrating their, I guess, 20th anniversary this year at the, of all places, La Brea Tar Pits. And Tom Doherty and Richard Williams were in the locker room, and they said, Tom, why aren't you starring in that? But he was serious. He talked about the Flintstones and Fred, Wilma, and Barney at length. That was my time to get out of the locker room.
In-depth coverage of the Hornets only on Fullerton College Television Network.
Up close and very personal.
2nd and 10. Williams, and too much time, I believe. Play was a little late in coming in, and that may have been the cause of the delay. Fullerton playing well enough to be ahead 16-0, but not looking like world beaters.
Delay of game on the offense, still 2nd down.
Mystery remains. Is the Hornet football team quality in 1985? They're not dominant, that's for sure.
Well, which team is it? Is it the team in the first half, or is it the team that came out in the second half? Just really haven't looked like the same team, really. Tommy Poore dropping that last one. He caught everything he was throwing his way in the first half. 2nd down and 15. Richard Williams back to throw. Nice job of stepping up, and he'll run it. Good move to the outside at the 50. Blockers ahead of him at the 30. Steps up inside.
What is he doing?
And a penalty flag down. I think there's going to be clipping at about the 34. When the Hornets came back to try to help out.
That's a shame.
Well, young Mr. Richard Williams can throw the ball and shows he can run it very well, too.
How many times in the pros or even at the college ranks do you see him encourage a quarterback to slide? Probably when he got around the 45-yard line, most of them would have hit the deck. But he kept going, even juked a tackler, went to the sideline, and picked up even more yardage.
And instead of inside the 30, it is now back at the 48-yard line, so that net total of 6 yards, 2nd down and 4. But it was exciting to watch Richard scamper. He's going to be a good one. They've been saying all along they really like the young quarterback out of Fullerton High School. 2nd and 4, 4:20 remaining. 16-0 the Hornets trying to add more. Williams back to throw, finds Aaron Grimm on a slant pattern to 40-yard line and a first down. delivering the ball very well, and that's what you like about number 12 down there, David.
He doesn't have the most powerful arm in America. He'll be the first to tell you that. He's simply not that big and strong, but he knows his limitations, throws the ball well enough, has good technique and a good throwing motion, and most importantly, reads the defenses very well.
The book on Richard is the same book on little brother Victor. All the stats don't match up size-wise and throwing the ball and everything, but it's tough to measure what's going on inside the helmet. And he's shown that he's got a lot going on in there, and it's usually working the right way. 1st and 10 from the 38, and the tailback going down for short yardage. Cleo Bennett, number 25. Curtis Johnson, number 99, sticking a big paw up there. Finally stopped by one of the inside backers, number 38, Darren Harrison, who's been in on everything out of Chicago, Illinois.
Long ass ride home. Woo! Long ride from the pad.
End to run, David.
Now look at Richard Williams. You can see his mom gasping. Richard, what are you doing, son? As he dances down the sidelines. You don't see that in your quarterback, and I'm sure Hal wouldn't like to see him running around the pocket like that.
Williams back to throw, going long for Poor. Touchdown.
Penalty marker on the play. Holding Fullerton.
Well, they're keeping the fans here with their mistakes, huh?
Penalties keeping the Hornets close. What a beautiful throw to Tommy Poor, and he brought it in. But like the run by Richard Williams, it will go for naught. The holding call will bring it back to the 47.
Holding on the offense. 2nd down.
Have to give his vocal cords a rest. Oh, he's been busy tonight.
The battery may be wearing out on the battery pack of Brian O'Kane. He's been busy.
If I'm not mistaken, and name the last time the Hornets had a tight end that was a threat to go deep. Was it Troy Sweet a few years ago?
Troy Sweet, who went over to Long Beach State, one of the better tight ends they've had, moved to a wide receiver position. Tommy Poor looking awful good himself. 2nd down and 18 instead of a touchdown. That's a tough trade-off. A screen set up on both sides. It goes to the right side to Hankins. He has blockers, fights off one, stays on his feet to the 42-yard line. Darren Harrison had him at the 44, and he simply ran over him. Finally brought down by the secondary people. Number 27 in on the tackle for the Renegades, Don Kessler. That is a very tough trade-off. You give up a long touchdown, and all you end up with is 2nd down, and now it's 3rd and about 14 to go.
And the Renegades don't appear to be much of a threat to pull this one out anymore, but the Hornets, probably by their own admission, without their own mistakes, could be leading by much more.
3rd and 14, 2:16 to go in the game. Hornets up 16-0. Williams with time. Over the middle, completed the 30-yard line. Aaron Grimm. One more time. No flags, David.
You wonder why at this point, maybe for just experience reasons, to leave Richard Williams in and keep him throwing with this time remaining?
Well, we have a little bit of a timeout right now as they measure, and we need it anyway, Dave. We've got to make a real change. We'll be back with more action. The score is 16-0. The Hornets over Bakersfield.
With the growth and the finest in Orange County, is pleased to be a major underwriter of Hornet football. The Irvine Company and Fullerton College, synonymous with the winning tradition that is Orange County. Production funding in part for Hornet football has been provided by the Quarterback Club of Fullerton College. The Quarterback Club congratulates the team, coaching staff, and Fullerton College in this, the 25th year of exciting Hornet football under the guidance of head coach Hal Scherbeck.
Measurement going on down at the field. Aaron Grimm, Richard Williams interested spectators. And this one must be awful close. They're taking a long time to gaze at it. Aaron Grimm helps with a preliminary signal, but they're still looking. I guess if they blew the ball up a little more, it'd already be a first down, huh? But it's
for the Hornets line, apparently, should they get by Bakersfield. And next week is the big game with Taft. But after that, it seems that they have a reasonably good chance of winning the rest of the games and finishing with a reasonably strong record, 8-2, a shot at a bowl game.
The Hornets have a chance to beat Taft, of course, up at Kern County next week. And if I think there's any team in the conference that can beat them, it's the Hornets, particularly because of their ability against the rush. And that's the name of the game with the Cougars. Bakersfield will have El Camino next week at home. Ball loose. Picked up by the Renegades. It continues to happen. Kevin Hahn, number 98, comes up with a pigskin. Turnovers continue to haunt the Hornets.
Looking down the rest of the Fullerton schedule after Bakersfield, of course, the big shootout with Taft next week, which could prove whether the Hornets are or not a quality football team. After that, Pasadena here, that'll be our next telecast. Golden West on the road. Mount Sac here, another televised game, and Long Beach closing out there at Veterans Stadium.
Bobby Brandon, little time remaining, 1:36. He'll go back to throw over the middle of the clump. They're content to give him the short stuff. Tackle made by Jeff Malstead. A gain of 12, but that's not going to get the job done in the long run.
13 yards.
First and 10 for the Bakersfield Renegades. The 47-yard line. This one no longer in doubt, although it was kept in doubt. The Hornets, 7 turnovers, helped to keep it that way. Klump again inside the 45 to the 44.
Where have they been hiding him all game long, huh?
Well, again, the Hornets playing the deep zone, allowing them to have that middle, and they're taking what's available, but not enough time remaining, 1:10. This will be a Hornet victory, and they'll go to 3-2. Bakersfield will drop to 4-2, 2-2 in conference. The Hornets will go to 2-2 in conference. Over the middle to Rick Anthony, and he hangs on to it before he's finally brought down by Johnny Vandersteen. And 7 Hornet turnovers do not bode well for them next week against Taft.
Oh, no, not at all. You turn it over against them, you're sure to go down to defeat. And for Hal Scherbeck, he'll continue his dominance over Bakersfield. Remember, he lost his first game ever coaching at Fullerton. Hasn't lost since then. And on the other hand, a lot has been made of that, but Carl Bowser, Bakersfield has beaten them once. He wasn't there. He came in 1967, and this will be the 9th straight time he's been involved in a Renegade defeat at the hands of Fullerton and Hal Scherbeck.
Well, again, the matchups I think that we brought up at the beginning of the game tends to give you a little of the story of that. There always have been a rush-oriented type of team on offense, and the Hornets have always been a great defensive team against the rush. So strength against strength, and the Hornets' strength has won, and they're going to win again tonight.
It was very predictable coming in, and that pattern pretty much has been the case. And for Carl Bowser and the Renegades, a long drive back to Kern County, and for him, he has been there pretty much all his life. He's a local guy, went to Bakersfield High School, played for Bakersfield's Renegades. Guess where he's coaching now? Bakersfield. I knew you'd guess it.
I need a little more time.
But they have a rich tradition, too. 22 All-Americans have played for the Renegades. And, of course, the countless number of stars that have played at the 4-year level and in the pros for Fullerton. So the Renegades have a rich tradition on the gridiron. They've been around a long time. In fact, the oldest community college in the nation.
Fullerton pretty close, right behind them. They've been around a few years themselves.
Okay, time to figure out who's the oldest. Bakersfield, founded in 1913.
The Hornets say they are the oldest continuous junior college in the nation. Some colleges were going for a while and shut back down. So the controversy continues, we're sure. No controversy here, though. 55 seconds to go. First and 10 for Bobby Brandon and the Renegades, and time will just run out on them. Ricky Smith back, and Brandon in trouble. Chris Stately has it. He'll go down.
Maybe Brandon will want to go back to Kansas with Toto and pretty much not come to Orange County again.
Bobby did redshirt at Kansas State. Stately held him up long enough for Jimmy Joseph, Tommy Matthews and company to come in and finish him off, along with 45, Ben Vega. Bakersfield will call a timeout. Little to do but work on your 32-second offense. They're going to lose this one.
And for them, we talked about their schedule. They beat the weaker teams in there. In fact, they climbed as high as 12th in the nation And looking at them tonight, they're anything but a top 20 club in the country. And the schedule would have something to do with that.
Currently number 7 in the Southland right now. We expect them to fall from that lofty perch. They did have, as the Bakersfield Californian said in one of their articles about the team, the Renegades, they said themselves, and they cover them all the time, and the Bakersfield Californian said, look, the salad bowl part of the schedule is over. Now it's time for meat and potatoes. And last week they met the meat in Cerritos. This week it's the potatoes, and they're hard boiled. The Hornet defense just turned them away. Chances to get back in the game, stranded them down at the goal line on that big play on the wishbone. And that was obviously the turning part of the game.
That was a backbreaker, and all this food talk is making me hungry. We're at the 3-hour mark of this one.
It's getting to be a long one, and all the people in the truck, Steve Harris and his crew. We've got it made. We're protected here under the press box, David.
Hi.
Bobby Brandon, 31 seconds to go, scrambling for his life again. Throws the ball short and connected and tackled at the 40-yard line. And of course, you wouldn't be surprised to hear there's another penalty marker.
Something that I'm sure makes everybody happy.
It's getting a little ragged, to say the least. But that happens at the end of games when everybody is frustrated. You've worked hard, and I don't know if the average fan realizes the amount of work that athletes put in, and particularly in football, where there's so much terminology and sets and everything to study.
Flipping on the offense. Repeat second down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Brian O'Kane, the official. Yvonne Peffer, Dave Kurtzman out there with Speedy Castillo, the back judge. You knew they'd put Speedy in the back. Cliff Hamlow, the field judge.
I knew it, didn't you?
Speed Castillo. We'll have to talk to them and see if that's his real name or not. Brandon Vega, here he comes. Ball's up. It's just a freebie and picked up by Bakersfield at the 45. Johnstone at the 49-yard line as time runs out, and a flag, of course, goes down to the turf.
Now the game is over.
No time. If it's a defensive penalty, the game cannot end. A penalty if it's against the gauge, the game is over. Holding against the gauge, goodbye. It's over for them as time expires here. The Hornets 16, Bakersfield nothing. And what was really an entertaining and very good game in the first half, pretty ragged in the second half, David.
To say the least, 16-0 our halftime score. Final score, 16-0. One big yawn from our studio audience. And the Hornets had everything go their way offensively early in the game, and statistically they dominated the game. The Renegades were able to move the ball somewhat in the second half, but when it came down to the big play, the moment of truth at the goal line, they simply weren't able to cash it in.
Richard Williams, a great first half, not as good as second half.
Well, they kept him in regardless with the big lead, and 16-0 isn't a tremendous lead, but the way the Hornet defense was playing, not breaking when the Gades were knocking at the door, 16 would be as good as 30 points. So leaving him in the entire game, give him that game experience, because next week, oh my goodness, it's up to Kern for those Taft Cougars.
Taft Cougars the last 2 years, that's 1-1. Hornets in 83, Taft in 84, the rubber match next week.
Oh, and they love him at home too. Al Baldock was really eager last year to come down here, stop that home winning streak. The Cougars, #1 team in the nation a year ago, #1 team in the state this year, top 5 in the country. A great game for Fullerton, a chance to get some national respect again and respect in the Pac-9.
And a little bit of respect here with the Bakersfield Renegades. The Hornets up 16-0, the final score. So Fullerton goes over the 500 mark for the first time in 1985. They go to 3-2, 2-2 in the Pac-9 conference. For all the people on the sideline, Steve Harris, all the folks in the truck, we thank you. Dave Lewis, good to work with you one more time. We hope you enjoyed it on the Fullerton College Television Network. This is Lon Brun reminding you the final score from Fullerton District Stadium. The Hornets 16, the Renegades nothing. Good night.